First of all, thank you, Emily, for being here with us and for being the best intern I ever had, and also for advocating so effectively for Israel and the Jewish people. And yes, she deserves a round of applause. I would like to start by saying how happy and excited I am to see everyone here tonight. It makes saying goodbye much harder, I have to admit. Ambassador Wood, Robert, thank you to you and to Ambassador Thomas Greenfield, of course, for your friendship and support. As you mentioned, we traveled together to Israel, where I felt the deep commitment that you have to Israel and its future. So thank you. My dear friend, UJA CEO, the legendary CEO, Eric Goldstein. Eric, you and your fellow Jewish leaders have helped me understand, really, I didn't understand it as much as I understand it today, the great American Jewish community. Thank you for being our partners at the Israel mission to the UN, for so many of the initiatives that strengthen Israel and that wouldn't have happened without you. And honestly, wherever I go, whatever I do, I will seek your advice and counsel about how best to serve the Jewish people, because I know that our people must be one and must remain united. So thank you. Rabbi Steinmetz, I want to thank you for your leadership and spiritual guidance you have given both to me and to my family. Thank you. My fellow ambassadors, thank you for your camaraderie. I have learned much from you, and I know that I have made friends for life all around the world. Your support made an unfriendly place a little less lonely. So friends, in Judaism, we are entreated to constantly look back and take stock. In a few days, the Jewish people will commemorate Tisha B'Av, the day when our two temples were destroyed. It is the saddest day of the Jewish calendar, a day of fasting, but it also contains the seed of hope. Tisha B'Av teaches us that regardless of how bad a situation might seem, we must not lose hope. Never. At this moment, the state of Israel is experiencing extremely difficult times. On October 7th, as you all know, we have suffered the largest single loss of life on one day since the Holocaust. Since then, Israel has been attacked from 7 fronts, completely unprovoked. This is a key strategy of our enemies, to terrorize our civilians and ultimately destroy the Jewish people in our indigenous and ancestral homeland. They are not looking for a diplomatic solution. We should all remember it. Iran and its proxies are threatening to attack us from every direction. Those who try to hurt us should know that we will not be deterred. They must know that they will pay a heavy price, and our long arm will reach them everywhere, everywhere. Even today, as Iran openly threatens to punish Israel, the UN is silent once again. Iran has understood this silence as giving it a green light to carry on its preparations to attack millions of Israelis, millions that are waiting right now. The UN's current silence on Iran is reminiscent of the global silence after the Wannsee Conference in 1942, When the Nazi leadership decided on the final solution, they too understood this silence to be a green light for the murder of millions of Jews. Nonetheless, despite this, I am telling you that standing here today, we will win. We will prevail. And how do I know this? Because we have no other choice. And as Prime Minister Golda Meir famously said, we have nowhere else to go. Nowhere. The Jewish people remember our joyous moments and our sad moments. We never give up. We never lose hope. We have faith and we have determination. So it is determination and the strength of Jews throughout history that drove me these last 4 years, as Rabbi Steinmetz mentioned about empires that were destroyed. I have tried to project this determination and faith in every speech that I delivered, in every meeting, and during every media interview. Many times I was asked how I could come every day to work in a place that has so much hate and hypocrisy towards Israel. So I'll tell you how. It was simple. Why it was simple? Because it's easy to defend Israel, because if you know the truth and you believe in something, you proudly hold your head high and even in the face of constant criticism and attacks. I know the good that I represent, the most moral country in the world, Israel. This is why my message has always been to go on the offensive, precisely because I recognize clearly the hypocrisy of our haters and enemies and how they treat not only us, not only Jews and Israelis, but their own civilians, be it in Gaza or in Iran and any other country. We have nothing to apologize for, friends. It is a pure double standard. Friends, when I meet with delegations of teenagers or students, I'm often asked, why did you want to become an ambassador? My answer is that for me, it's a dream come true. It was a childhood wish of a kid from the southern city of Ashkelon who dreamt of defending Israel on the international stage. This love of Israel and fierce sense of loyalty to defend the Jewish state was instilled in me when I heard my grandfather's horrifying stories from Auschwitz. My grandfather Chaim saw his first wife, Bracha, and 7 out of their 8 children brutally murdered in front of his eyes, by the Nazis, and he did everything after the Holocaust to come immediately to the land of Israel with my grandmother, Rachel, to build and strengthen the newly born state. Because he understood like millions of Jews, and like myself, the terrible price if we don't have our own homeland. Since hearing my grandparents' stories, I have dreamt of fighting for the legitimacy of Israel on the world stage. Dear friends, even in my wildest dreams, I never imagined that my 4 years as Israel's ambassador to the United Nations and the United States would look like this. For my family and I, it was one of the most important experiences of our life. 4 years of seminal moments, from a global pandemic to the new peace accords to the horrors of October 7th and the multi-front war Israel is battling today. In these 4 years, I have formed clear positions regarding the UN's moral distortions and indifference, and I've realized that sometimes words alone are not enough. Actions are also required. I want to tell you a short story that tells you everything you need to know about the UN's approach towards Israel. At the beginning of my tenure, Israel achieved an amazing accomplishment, the Abraham Accords, an unprecedented peace agreement between Israel and 4 Arab countries. It happened 2 weeks after I arrived. During those historic days, I had my, as it's called here, courtesy call. My courtesy call with the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to mark the beginning of my term. It was COVID, he couldn't meet with me in person. This was our first conversation ever, for those of you who think it started only after October 7th. So this was our first conversation ever, one that was supposed to be positive and welcoming. So I naively thought that the Secretary General would congratulate Israel on this momentous achievement of our pursuit of peace. After all, you know, coexistence is supposed to be the main goal of the UN. Well, I was shocked when all he had to tell me that he hoped that the Abraham Accords would not come at the expense of the Palestinian people. The leader of the most important international organization, which is supposed to work for peace among nations, dismissed historic peace accords, a major step towards maybe ending the Arab-Israeli conflict, and that's the only thing he had to say about Israel. Even reconciliation with Israel for him was a mere conspiracy in his mind. So later on, after October 7th, when Israel was still burying bodies and some families were still waiting to hear whether their loved ones were killed or taken hostage, he disgracefully professed to the UN that the pogrom did not take place in a vacuum. I can't fathom that the only comments a man in his position had about Israel, the only vibrant liberal democracy in the Middle East, was criticism, while he doesn't have any criticism, and Google it, while he doesn't have any criticism at all towards Iran. Friends, but despite Guterres and others who hate Israel openly or behind closed doors, I had the immense privilege of representing Israel at the United Nations. I woke up every morning with a clear mission to prove that Israel is a moral state, a country that cherishes life and peace, a country that wants to protect its citizens like any other country, and the state with the best and most ethical army in the world, the IDF. I did everything I could to raise awareness about the horrors of October 7th, about our hostages, the fallen and murdered, and the sexual violence, you saw it, against Israeli women. I did this in every way possible, and with all means at my disposal, yes. It was a way to raise awareness, to shock, to cry out for those who cannot. When you represent the one and only Jewish country against a bloc of 56 Muslim countries that work together and exert political pressure, yes, I was left with no other choice. I held up signs, heart-wrenching images, videos, we lit candles, smuggled in rocks, wore yellow stars, and tore and shredded documents. These actions, friends, were taken from a genuine desire to leave as much impact as possible and to change attitudes. And I know that they touched the hearts of many. I know it. My friends, let me emphasize something very, very important. Not everything was bad and bitter. During my 4 years, I also achieved many, thank God, accomplishments. I had the pleasure of seeing Israel being successfully accepted to the American visa waiver program. thanks to President Biden, something I initiated during my tenure in Washington. We brought delegations of UN ambassadors to Israel and witnessed how they understood better, not enough by the way, but better our values and our challenges in our region. I led events that exposed UN member states to Israeli innovation, inventions, and creativity, demonstrating time and again that we are a startup nation and that Israel is not the problem. Israel is a country of solutions. Thank God I also passed an important General Assembly resolution against Holocaust denial, the second ever Israel-led resolution that passed in the United Nations. It also says something about the UN, that it's only the second resolution. I was even elected as Vice President of the UN General Assembly to the disappointment of some. Alongside all these magical moments, I also had the privilege, really the privilege of getting to know many people who became our friends. Many of them are my colleagues, ambassadors to the UN, some of you who are here with us tonight. And again, thank you. I would also like to thank the wonderful Jewish community who welcomed us with open arms. Not only are you my brothers and sisters, but I also understand better today how much we share a common faith and I saw how much you care about Israel and how much you are a strategic asset to the Jewish state. It was very challenging to arrive here, honestly, in the middle of a global pandemic, when the streets were empty and only few people were meeting in person. Rabbi Steinmetz mentioned it. However, we have met so many amazing people that opened their homes and opened their hearts, and who I now consider friends for life. We love you, and we hope that you visit us back in Israel. I would like to thank my Chief of Staff, Michal, who came to New York with her family and served Israel with dedication and professionalism. And I thank all of my team who have worked with me over these past 4 years. I would like to acknowledge Efrat's contribution to this amazing event. Thank you, Efrat. My personal team and all of the diplomats and employees at the Israel mission to the UN, thank you for your dedication. Everything, dear friends, you see or hear me do wouldn't be possible without my loyal and tireless staff. They say that you are only as good as the people around you, and this is true with all the people I work with who help me. I thank all of the security guards who protected me wherever I had to travel. At all hours with dedication and sacrifice. By the way, Danny, I give them to you with pleasure. I'm a free man. And I also thank my professional driver, Robert. He's there. Lastly, I would like to thank my family, my 4 amazing children. Ohad, you saw him, who is already serving in the IDF. Adi, who will enlist very soon. Amit and Erel, that got me in trouble tonight. Thank you for taking on this tremendous challenge and making it the adventure of a lifetime. By the way, some of my kids came here without knowing much English, and they all leave with much better English than me. So, finally, I would like to thank my partner in all things, my beloved wife, Shlomit. Shlomi, you have been my sounding board, and I can always rely on you to give me great advice and criticism when necessary on anything I am working on. You are always happy to be the quiet one, so I could use my loud voice. But Shlomit, I know you had it tougher than all of us together. You were our rock when I was commuting between New York and DC and on many other occasions and trips. You were the one who helped the rest of us to acclimate to this new life and allowed me to focus on my work for the state of Israel and the Jewish people. No one deserves more gratitude. Don't speak with her now. No one deserves more gratitude from me and more applause from everyone than Shlomit. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please join me. So friends and colleagues, I would like to conclude by calling once again for the immediate release of all of our hostages. Their plight and the horrors they are experiencing are always at the forefront of everything we do. I also want to pay tribute to our bereaved families. They have paid the ultimate sacrifice, and we owe them a total victory over Hamas. The state of Israel and our brave and fearless soldiers of the IDF will deliver that victory, God willing, and return the hostages to their families. Am Yisrael Chai, thank you, and I truly love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Until next time, stay informed and inspired. This is Dejobnik signing off.